if the seller was to offer more than, say, our whatever our buyer's agency agreement is, if they're offering more, that compensation then goes back to that extra compensation goes back to the buyer, and they can use that for their closing costs, and they can use it to pay for things in home warranties and things like that. And that all depends on how the offer is structured, but it also depends on how your buyer agency agreement is structured as well. If the seller's offering less, and this is the big important part, because if the seller's offering less than what your compensation agreement is in your buyer's brokerage agreement that you signed with your buyer agent, that's called a gap, right? So if the seller was offering 2.5% and you had signed a buyer agency agreement at 3%, there's a 0.5% gap in there. On our $500,000 house in our example, that is $2,500 gap. And that means you may have to cover the difference yourself and pay that compensation directly to the buyer broker firm. You may renegotiate, right? And see if you can renegotiate your buyer brokerage agreement. You might structure your deal differently, maybe increase the purchase price to get that other 0.5% covered. There's lots of different things that you can do in that. And this is where a good agent's going to help you structure that, so that if you don't want to come up with that out of pocket, how you can structure that and get that put into the deal and the price of the house.